and they'll have to do nothing. There's people that are working and got childcare, and they don't stop all day, and they just need to build in some rest periods of time for themselves, so that they need some downtime so that they're pacing themselves better. But it's quite tricky to get people to see where they can do that, and actually to actually getting them to try to commit to making that, to make that change, to trial it, and with their worries about what people might think. So, for instance, if they're in work, if they were to take them to be just simple things like standing up every 20 minutes to change their position, or every hour, going for a walk around the office. What will my colleagues think? What will my boss think? Some things are only tiny changes, but getting people to not convincing, that's not right, but trying to put little seeds of thoughts in, that you're getting somebody to think, oh yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go for a week, and I'll keep a diary and see how my pain levels are.
And how do you match treatments or interventions to your clients?
How do I match them? Very much on what they identify as their goals, really. So when people come in, they're assessed through a new patient assessment. I'm not actually involved in those. But even at that very early stage where we are, the advanced practitioners, the physios, will basically be looking to see, or the GP will be looking to see if anything had been missed in terms of whether there's something else that needs investigating, or everything's outruled, basically, and it is a chronic pain situation. So even at that stage, they'll be looking at what somebody's goals will be, or what the main issues are, and then again, the psychologist will see them potentially. Well, they will see them before they do a pain management program. So the psychologist will be looking to set up a goal, and then literally if they come on a pain management program, it's not in the first couple of sessions, but then it's right down to, setting a goal. And so at that stage, work could be identified by the person as a goal, or it might be they identify something about volunteering or just being more active, or, they're quite general, but it's about, we do a session about identifying what the person's values and goals, basically based on their values, and what they want to achieve. So then we match the interventions to what they suggest.
I wanted to share some findings from a literature review that I've done, and it was just looking at what interventions promote return to work in people with chronic pain. So we found things like stratification of care and multidisciplinary approaches, workplace elements are all kind of important when it comes to kind of return to work interventions. And I know you've mentioned about multidisciplinary team. In general, I wanted to ask you what your view is of these findings. What do you think about them?
About what you just summarised? Yeah, I think that sounds it sounds right. I think basically it needs the whole MDT to be able to identify, to see work as being really important to somebody's well-being, and I think the earlier we can identify that, the better, really. Definitely. What was the first thing about stratification?
That kind of was linked to, like, when I asked you how you match interventions to clients. With the flags and things like that, how people match those interventions to different chronic pain patients.
So I think it's quite tricky, isn't it? Because so we have people that are in so much distress that, although the model at Southdown, this individual placement and support talks about the importance of getting people not putting off work. You know, it shouldn't be such a graded approach into work. It should be when if a person identifies that that's their goal and they want to do it and they're able to act on it, then they should act on it. Mm-hmm. And I think when you were talking about challenges, I think that is still a challenge in my head, because I know there's a lot of evidence that suggests that the most important, particularly in mental health, the important thing is if the person identifies they're ready to go to work, then that you should go regardless of what other issues might be to do with their mental health. And I think it's the same with pain, that it creates a thing that people can't carry on working. So me and Anne saw somebody that had literally had occupational health advice from a company she was working with. Oh,
sorry, apologies.
Are you going to have to leave?
No. Is it Tuesday today? Yeah, they just tested the alarm.
Yeah. So she'd had advice from Occy Health that she wouldn't be able to carry on working, and I thought it was a bit of a shame. So because I mean, in the long run, I think it's fine. I think maybe she did need to take a break, take stock, learn self-management techniques, and go back to applying to something that fitted more with her, with her lifestyle. But I just think it was a shame because it's put on all this financial pressure onto her that, might have fed into her pain getting worse. So it is tricky. But funnily enough, that lady that I'm talking about has just been through a pain management program, and we talked again at the end about the importance of work, and she's picked up some drop-in session dates about that South Down, our employment agency, are doing stuff. So she's still very much in, we're still almost, we've held her and worked with her with some self-management techniques. And we're also still encouraging her to show that work is possible. And there were other people in the group that were still working. So, she's still got that goal. So, yeah, I think you're right. It is about stratification. It's about, I said the word I'd use because I'm from my marketing, it would be like a targeted thing. There's no, your clinical reasoning is what is appropriate for that person at that time, at the time.
And I wonder, I mean, I don't know if you get any kind of communication or, any kind of interaction with employers per se, or anything. I don't know, how do you find employers in this process?
So we, at the moment, we don't really offer to talk to employers, not in the role that I'm in the pain management team. Because we leave that to the South Down to do, the specialist people. But say for when I was working in rheumatology, I know that my colleagues will liaise there with employers to work, to talk to them about potentially just highlight reasonable adjustments they could be making and doing fit for work type reports. So they do that, although I haven't personally done that. So they've got a guideline around people that are struggling to maintain work because of their inflammatory arthritis, their rheumatoid arthritis, things like that, or to maintain work, and they will work and they will liaise directly with employers because they don't have the employment agency South Down that I do in this role. So they are liaising directly with employers. So at the moment, it's not seen that we would do that. But whether that's something that potentially, if we can make a case to do that
and do you think,
the future.
Do you think that for your patients having a diagnosis of chronic pain, does it help with return to work or does it hinder it? What do you think?
Difficult to say, really. I suppose it helps because potentially, or I don't know if the diagnosis helps or whether it's the understanding of what that means and coming to terms with that, potentially being diagnosed with a long-term condition that they're going to need to manage. And